Let's see what's cooking. It's time for Yo-Yo Makes 12.
Here we go, cherry cheesecake cookies. Start off with 1 6-ounce jar of maraschino cherries. Now, a 6-ounce jar is a very small jar. And drain out the liquids, reserve the liquid, and pat the maraschino cherries dry. Chop them up very fine, and then pat them again. You want to try to get out as much liquid as possible because you don't want it to mess up your cookie dough when you're adding them to it. Basically, you need to end up with 1/3 of a cup of finely chopped maraschino cherries. For the rest of the cookie dough, start off with 1/2 cup of butter and 1/2 cup of shortening. Those two are in the bowl. And then 3 ounces of cream cheese that have been brought to room temperature. Blend that together with an electric mixer or by hand with a spoon, which is fine. To this, we're going to add 2/3 of a cup of sugar and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Blend that together and then add 1 egg and 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. If you don't want to use the almond extract, use the vanilla extract, but the almond adds a really nice flavor to these cookies. Then you're going to incorporate 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a little at a time, until you get a stiff dough. Once everything is well combined, you're going to divide your dough into 3 portions. 1 portion you're going to leave plain, and the other 2 we're going to do the following with. First portion, you're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of maraschino cherry juice and a little bit of food coloring so you get a nice pink color to the dough. And you're going to set that one aside after you mix it all up. And the second portion, we're going to add those chopped up cherries that we made at the beginning of the video. And simply just stir that up until the cherries are incorporated in the dough. Then put all 3 portions of the dough in the refrigerator for about 2 hours. Take out the portions of dough, and one at a time you're going to roll them out between sheets of parchment paper until they form 6-inch square shapes. Then place all 3 of the square shapes into the freezer for about 30 minutes. This is actually quite an easy recipe. It's just a little time consuming because there's lots of chilling to be done with the dough. So the dough has been sitting in the freezer for about 30 minutes. It's stiffened up quite a bit. Take each portion. You're going to brush on a little bit of milk. And then you're simply going to add the white layer over top the cherry layer. And then the pink layer over top of that. Press it down, make sure all the edges are even, and then slice off the excess so that it's nice and even and straight on the edges. Don't throw out the scraps, you can just roll those out into cookie shapes and you can eat them as well. Then you're going to wrap it up and put it in the freezer for about 20 minutes to chill it thoroughly. Take it out and then cut the block into thirds, into 3 pieces. Each piece is going to give you about a dozen cookies. So this recipe makes about 3 dozen cookies. So then slice up your little block, your little third, into 12 slices. And the more chilled the dough is, the easier it is to cut, and the layers actually stay together quite nicely. Then you're going to place them on a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper or silicone mat like this is right here. And then you're going to bake it in a preheated 375-degree oven for about 10 minutes until the edges are light brown. I put them about 1 inch to 1.5 inches apart on the cookie sheets because they do spread a little. Here they are out of the oven. How you can see they spread just a little. You want to bake them just until the edges are just brown. And there's the completed cookies. These are delicious. You can taste the cherry and the cheese. Cream cheese in these. They're moist and delicious. They're kind of a soft cookie when they're all done.